on them.
Clement Masombo, KTN News.
That statement by the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, has also angered a cross-section of Kenyans. It's viewed as insensitive to the grieving families of victims of police brutality. Aside from Azimio, human rights organizations have also blamed the police over the deaths of close to 24 people during the anti-government protests, with most of those deaths recorded in Nairobi, Kisumu, Nakuru, Kisii and Makueni. Rita Tinina reports on the confrontation between Azimio and the IG, which may have touched the wrong nerve this time round.
When Azimio announced it would hold its second protest in March over, among other issues, the high cost of living, Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome had his guns trained on the coalition.
Hilo nataka kukuambia saa huu yeyote ako na huo mpango kesho kuleta vurugu kwa nchi yetu utakipata. Kesho siweki mtu kwa parado, yeyote nita arrest. Whoever you are, ni kurusha we quarantine, kurusha nyuma, uende jela, ufungwe milele.
That was on the 26th of March this year, and Koome was headed on a collision course with Azimio. Azimio supporters held demonstrations, engaging the police in running battles. The protests left several people dead and dozens injured. Azimio blamed the deaths and injuries on the police and said it had written to the ICC seeking to have Koome investigated over his role in the protests. Talk of a man with an indifferent approach, or is it offensive tone?
Umeleta hiyo barua leo, nimeisoma, nimeona Koome ametajwa mara karibu 20 kwa hiyo barua. Sasa nashindwa ndugu zanguni. A senior politician spending all the energy mentioning a policeman 20 times. There are better things to do. At
a news conference at his private residence in Kamulu, Koome remained unmoved.
We shall not be intimidated. Kazi yetu tutafanya.
More protests were held. More lives were lost. The LSK, Amnesty International, among other human rights organizations, have blamed the police over the deaths. In a report released last week, the police were blamed for killing over 20 people during the protests.
We'd want to pursue personal responsibility, particularly for the police commanders that we're able to establish.
Azimio leaders have been attending funerals of those who lost their loved ones during the protests. Some families are yet to bury their loved ones. Koome, who has been quiet for a while, appeared on Tuesday to make a statement, one that to critics is outrageous and downright insensitive to grieving families.
They go to some of the mortuaries, compromise the workers there, people even who died of some illness, people who died maybe out of an accident or other causes. They take photographs of such bodies and blame on police.
The pain of losing a loved one is one that cannot be described. Can Koome tell that to Evelyn Achungo, who lost her 2 sons, 24-year-old William Mamulele and his 22-year-old younger brother Brian Onyango in Nyalenda, Kisumu? Can Koome tell that to the family of Raphael Shigali, who was shot dead in Makadara, Nairobi? Can Koome tell that to the family of the Boda Boda rider who died of gunshot wounds in Nakuru? And many other relatives who are still grieving the loss of their loved ones? Several issues are used to play politics in the country, but for the African culture where the dead are honored and sometimes feared, death is not one of them. Someone tell Japheth Koome Nchebere. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
From Inspector General Japheth Koome, let me now tell you about Martha Koome, who's the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, who is now expected to form a panel of top